Ever stress about coordinating vendors just weeks before your wedding? Wedding management isn't just day of support, it starts months ahead, making sure every detail flows perfectly.
Ensuring that the client is not putting in a position 3 weeks before the wedding that they have to communicate those final details to their wedding vendors, because that can be stressful trying to pull everything together, especially since so much can change at the last minute.
See how it takes the stress off you. Watch now.
So let's touch a little bit on the wedding management. Tell the listener what wedding management looks like. What do they get? Not necessarily I walk you down the aisle, but what is it you're providing for the client that will make them say, I want that?
Yes. And I think there's a lot of misconception, even with the day of coordinator position, where it kind of came from this thought of someone you kind of have never met before showing up on your wedding, never really have talked to, doesn't know your vendors, doesn't know what your actual expectations are. I think there was always a misconception of what that service provided. So definitely wanting to kind of shift that narrative and put the focus on more of really bringing all of the pieces together and not just, as I mentioned, showing up on the day of. So even for the services that I provide, that wedding management, it can start 2 to 3 months prior to the event, not necessarily just 2 weeks prior, 2 to 3 months prior, going over the final scheduling, making sure that your actual timeline, or even providing a day of timeline. So that is included in the service I provide for wedding management, which is the day of timeline, working with all the vendors to ensure that the vendors have the appropriate timeline, making sure that the vendors have any final adjustments or details, because last minute things happen and change. So ensuring that the client is not putting in a position 3 weeks before the wedding that they have to communicate those final details to their wedding vendors, because that can be stressful trying to pull everything together, especially since so much can change at the last minute. In addition to making sure that your floor plan is appropriate, because oftentimes the client may not be aware of what's appropriate for a floor plan with the venue. Sometimes clients can come up with their own type of floor plan that may not make sense or have the right flow. So it's important that they get the proper, and even educating them, providing them some type of education throughout that 2 to 3 month period, so that we ensure that everything flows well throughout the event, and also providing some last minute details, some last minute options for them to be sure that their event is what they expect it to be.
That is wonderful.